Productions. I see that you've survived the COVID-19 virus. I'm glad that you tuned in. This time around, this session here, we're going to do something just a little bit different. We're not going to be working with any waterfowl. This is a Hunting Productions channel, so we're going to be doing different types of animals here, and maybe even branch off into some common things like beef and pork and stuff like that as we go along. I've had people asking me how to do certain things, and I thought it would be fun to put that on, but that'll all come a little bit later. This time around, I've had some people who, friends and family, and who have harvested a deer and some venison, and they wanted to know what to do with it. Not the same old, chili, stew, jerky, and that kind of stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a venison loin, and we're going to make a country fried venison. Just like a country fried steak, but we're going to use venison instead and make a country gravy for it. So stay tuned, and we'll get right on. Okay, first of all, we're going to make our country gravy. We're going to achieve that by using 1 quart of milk. We're going to melt 2 ounces of butter, and we have 2 ounces of flour here. Some recipes tell you to use the oil that you fry your country steak in to make the, in essence, a roux here. Is basically just oil and flour. But I personally don't like to use the oil that I fry with, just because it doesn't give you a very good flavor, and the oil kind of gets a little clouded and browned and not so great looking. You get a much better product here is if you use your melted butter and you use a flour. We're going to form a roux. It's just a much richer flavor, and it just adds so much more to the dish than using the oil or even using what we call a slurry, which is cornstarch and water. So we just mix that together real well, and then we're going to put that on low heat, and we're going to slightly cook that for about 3 minutes on low heat. The main thing we don't want to do is add any color to it. We don't want it to brown. We want it to stay a nice blonde here, just like we're looking at, which would be a blonde roux, and that's usually what you use for a cream sauce. So what we're going to do is go ahead and go put this on the heat and start by heating our milk in the microwave. So here you can see that I've been cooking this. This has been about 2.5 minutes here, and I'm cooking it, and this is a high heat spatula. If you want to buy rubber spatulas, I would suggest that you buy a high heat spatula. This thing stands up to like 500 or 600 degrees. They sell them in food service equipment stores, and now the nice thing is for the general public, really, you don't have to be in food service anymore just to get food service equipment. There are many food service equipment sales online that you can actually, anybody can go and sign up, and you can buy things from it. So. And these are one thing that that are really nice to have in the kitchen. You don't have to worry about melting your rubber spatula if you're using it on heat. And you can turn around and use it for something cold like cake batters and mixes. You can see it's kind of forming just a little bit of a doughy ball here, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this out, and we're going to remove this from the heat. And I have some 2 cups of milk in the microwave that I heated up. I'm going to check the temperature on it, and we need it to be up around 200 degrees coming out of the microwave, and we're going to add it to that, to the roux, and we're going to make our sauce. So our milk is ready to make a sauce out of, and basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my seasonings to it. And the reason it's really important to bring your milk up to at least 200 degrees is so that it thickens immediately as soon as you hit your in the pan, and the roux makes it thicken almost immediately. Otherwise you end up scorching your sauce. Cream sauces are very, very finicky, and they're very, very easy to scorch and to mess up. So that's one reason I really emphasize to do that. I'm going to add my seasonings to it, which I have a 1/4 teaspoon of sea salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper, and this is coarse ground black pepper, not ground black pepper, so it's a little bit heavier of a grind, and also 1/8 of a teaspoon of chopped garlic. We're going to mix that in, and we're going to go over here and add it to our roux and make our country gravy. So now I still have it on low heat. I'm going to bring up the heat just a little bit more, and I'm going to add this slowly. Now a little bit at a time. There, I'm dripping, but that's alright. I have to clean up. I'm the one that cleans up the kitchen anyway. So we're going to add a little bit. We're going to turn up the heat just a little bit. Get that to thicken up. Here we go. It's already starting to thicken, so we're going to add the whole thing now to it. And you need to stir constantly, or else your milk will scorch onto the bottom. And we'll turn it up just a little bit more, and we can see it starting to thicken. And we can see that our roux clump is in here yet, so we're going to really kind of get a little bit vigorous with this and get that roux all mixed in. That's our thickening power right there. You can't have those lumps of roux, because there I go again, dripping again. But that's alright. Like I said, I cleaned up the kitchen. So that's a nice thick gravy right there. If you don't like it that thick, you can add a little bit of milk to it and thin it down. But you need to pull it off the heat right away. I am going to take and thin this down just a little bit. A lot of times what that has to do with is the strength of the flour, how well your glutens are in the flour. So we're going to add just a little bit of milk. That was about probably about a half a cup. So sometimes the glutens are a lot stronger in the flours. It depends on what time of the year and how they blend their flours. That's an all-purpose flour. So here we go. That gives me a much nicer sauce there. And that's beautiful. And what we're going to do is we are going to wipe off the sides here. We got it off the heat. That's really important, because that burner stays very, very hot. And we're going to put the lid on it, and we're going to put it right back here into the back of the stove, and that'll stay warm back there till we get our country fried steak done. So now we're on to our venison, our meat, which I'm calling venison loin, better known to hunters as the backstrap. What I did was I cut some small pieces here like this, and what I'm going to do is we need to pound them a little bit flat. So actually I put it in between cellophane, plastic wrap, and press it down. And what this does is it helps keep it to hold the shape, and things don't splatter everywhere. The meat doesn't splatter. So we're going to just knock this down a little bit. And I also use the crinkly side. Helps to tenderize the meat. We all know venison can get a little bit tough. And that's how we keep it from being tough. So we are pounded this out into thin pieces. And now we're ready to do our breading. So at this point, we're going to make our breading mix. Actually, it's not breading mix. That's a misrepresentation. This is just a flour mixture, egg and flour. Now we used in our pecan video, pecan crusted goose, we used an egg wash that's similar to this, but then we used breadcrumbs with pecans in it to make our meat to fry. Now right now, what we're going to do is we're going to whip this up. Now I like it just a little bit heavier with egg, so we're going to do 3 eggs and 2 cups of milk. So there's our 1 cup. Mixing that in, and we're going to go 2 cups. And the reason I like it a little bit eggier on this is I feel that it makes the flour stick a little bit better to it, because that's what makes country fried steak. Or, you know, you've heard of chicken fried steak. It's because you can do fried chicken the same way. That ought to be a good one. If only I could shoot a turkey this year, I could do turkey fried steak, right? So, here we go. Put our milk away. So what we're going to do is we are going to add some seasonings to this. And the seasonings that we're going to add is a half a teaspoon of salt, and I'm using sea salt there. A half a teaspoon of black pepper, a half a teaspoon of granulated garlic, 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder, and also 2 tablespoons of parsley flakes. So we'll go ahead and add those in and continue on with our recipe. So we're going to mix this up really well. And I would rather season my flour than the meat itself, because that's where you're getting all your taste from, is the flour coating that's on the outside of it. So as we put this away, we're going to take this and we're going to do a two-step breading mixture. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a good amount, and we're not going to shake it off too much. You see me shake it off for the pecan crusted goose. We don't shake it off very much here. We want that heavy flour on there. And the reason for that is that's what's going to make our crispies on the outside, make the coating for the outside. Just like if you were doing a fried chicken this way. Now what we want to do is make sure that we push the venison down into the egg, because we want that flour to get all nice and soaked up. And we're going to do this like 3 to 4 times. Push it down in. And I'm going to show you this. Actually, just leave it roll here and do it 3 to 4 times so you can see what it looks like when it's done. Now I'm going to take a little bit of flour and just put it onto this plate, because we're going to use that plate to put our finished meat product on there. So we're going to bring it out. Now if you notice, I keep one hand wet and one hand cold, or one hand dry. And for that reason is so it doesn't get don't get all goopy. One hand gets goopy and one hand doesn't. So we're going to go ahead, pull these all out, and if you notice, I'm leaving a good amount of flour on those. And continue on. I'm kind of pushing it on, patting it on here. And as we get down into the last ones, I think we got one more to go. We can go ahead and put that right in, back into the egg wash mix. We'll take these, put these in, push them down in. We might only need to do this 3 times. It's looking pretty good. That's why I like my egg mixture to be a little bit heavier with the egg. So, pull the bottom ones off. They went in first. We're going to go ahead and coat them again. And at this point, that's looking beautiful. Look at that. That is looking nice. We're going to lay that there. And we'll continue on doing this a 3rd time. So as we finish up on our 3rd, you see we've just about used up all our flour. The flour got a little bit clumpy, but that's great. That's what we want. We're going to spread that on. We laid them out. Made a little bit of mess on the table, but that's all right. That's a fun part of cooking. So as you can see here, we got nice coating on it. And now we can move to our fry pan and fry these bad boys off. Okay. We got that all done. Got my hands all cleaned up. So now we're going to check our oil here. We want it around 325 to 350, somewhere in that region, and I'm upside down. So here we go. We're a little bit over. We're at about 360. So I turned my heat down just a little bit, but that's okay as long as we're not approaching 400. That's the great thing about having a thermometer like that. You can do the spritz test like I've showed you before, but you got to be very careful with that. It's only a drop or 2 of water. So basically I got about good 3/4 a cup of oil in here. Now the temperature is going to come down as we're starting to fry these. And we're going to pick these up and put these right in. Oh man, I can taste them already. Our breading came off a little bit there. We're gonna let them fry until they're till they're kind of golden brown on the bottom. And that is about a medium heat that I have on there. Medium. I just turned it up a little bit because when you add your food product in, it absorbs the heat from the oil and will bring the oil temperature down. So we don't want them to taste oily. So I cleaned off my tongs, and we're going to wait for them to fry and look real nice and golden brown. Now as they're frying here, I'm pushing them around a little bit. You notice I am using my cast iron. It holds the heat real nice on there. We're going to flip these over. Nice and golden brown there. And we're going to put that over on that side. And you can see how that egg and flour made a nice coating on the outside of these venison steaks. Now I am using my thermometer here. We're going to flip this over. Going to look at it. We got a nice brown going on there. We push down the center a little bit. Okay, good, nice. And we're going to check the inside temperature here. As long as you get them nice and brown on both sides, you're in good shape. But I'm a big fan. I don't like to overcook my meats too much. So right now we're at about 180, and I'm going to pull this off. A little hot over top. This one's just about done. Got a nice brown on it. I'm going to lay that on the plate. I'm going to move these. These got just a little bit to go yet. I can feel that they're just a little bit spongy. And we want our country fried steaks to be more on the well done side. And we don't want to push them. I'm only checking how the meat feels there. I'm not squeezing them. If you squeeze an item like this, what you do is you squeeze the juice out of them, and then they're dry. I see people do that with hamburgers all the time. You stand there and push, getting them done, trying to get them done faster. And yeah, they get done faster, but they're dry as a bone. Now we're going to add. I did pull this off to show you. You can see how the oil gets kind of funny looking. From the brown flour, and that kind of gives it a little burnt flavor to it if you were to use that to thicken your sauce. But that's only my preference. I'm not telling you it's wrong to do that. You can do anything you'd like to do there. So we're going to go ahead and brown these off, and then we're going to present these on a plate, and hopefully you'll like what you see. Okay, folks, here we go. Now I'm going to present this here. I made a little bit of wilted baby spinach, and which goes fantastic with country fried steak. If you don't like wilted spinach, or you don't like spinach, you can always do a nice vegetable like roasted butternut squash. You could do yellow squash. You could do roasted carrots, sauteed carrots, anything you want, really. It's your option on what side you'd like to have. And here we're going to go ahead and put our gravy on there. It's nice and thick, and you do want thicker style gravy for this dish. So here we go. Fantastic. Okay, great. Well, let me know what you think. And as always, please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this presentation. If you have any suggestions, please write down some comments. I'm always looking for comments. I'd love to hear from some people, anything that you'd like me to do, or just even comments on this dish that we did. If there's a better way that I can present this and make you understand easier, I would surely love to hear it. I do have a Facebook page. You can go on my Facebook page, which is Spent Shell Hunting Productions, and you can follow me there. I'm going to start to present these recipes that we're doing here on my Facebook page. At this point, I only have links to the videos, but I'm working on putting the recipes on the Facebook page also. So please give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and if you want to see some more stuff, please give me hit the subscribe button, and I'd love to bring you some more content. Great. Have a good day. Be safe. Take care. And we'll see you on the flip-flop.